I have to take a swig over here, or just give him the peace on.
Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. Our guest today for the second time is the Democratic candidate for governor of the state of Washington, Don Rivers. Don, thanks for being here again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you, Jason.
So, Don, I understand you have a really big announcement for everyone you're going to put out
Uh,
there.
yeah, I've been grassroots, running my own campaign for the last 20, 25 years. 7 to 8 times running for Congress. One time, well, first before that, I ran for city council in city of Kent, lost by 2 votes. 7 to 8 times for Congress. After that, opportunity to run for the U.S. Senate, came in third against Maria Cantwell. She's going to win again. He has my vote. And then after that selection, decided to run for mayor of Seattle and was kind of excluded in that. See, I've always been a problem solver. So trying to find a place to get in, to fit in with all of the advisory stuff I've done over the 48 years in Washington State to elected officials nationwide and international. I ended up putting myself in a position to run for governor and was very successful. We just came back from Eastern Washington, where I know that there's percentage over there of 88% of the people that are Republican, but I have a lot of Republican friends too and voters. We did real good in Eastern Washington in 2020. So the Tri-City areas. After doing that and coming in second in the Democratic Party, who really hasn't really acknowledged the fact that I did come in second, but it's down. You can look it up and see it. I've been a change maker for 48 years. And so when I make statements, this time is running for governor, you don't come in second and then don't run again. So this time running for governor, I made a statement that I made in 2020 that homelessness is the most viable area of untapped positive resources. We've approached it the wrong way. You cannot approach homelessness in the area of looking at it for housing. Or we're going to have everybody housed. Well, you're just housing the problems. And it's like any animal, they're going back to where there are problems because they're comfortable, and they're not comfortable in your housing because your housing has been set up for opportunities to pay off those big donors that you've had on your campaign, give jobs across the country to your different sororities or fraternities. And I'm not wrong with, I don't have a problem with that if that's what you want to do. But it's time for Washington State to have a clean sweep without criminal anything involved in it, from money laundering to anything else. But one thing I've always learned before I make this announcement is I'm a person that don't have a problem forgiving people for their wrongs, as long as you don't redo it and that's become who you really say you are on the inside of you. We talked about that with Sammy Unseasoned Bird, the fact that he was going to commit some other kind of situation because of the situations he's done before, and I'll be darned if he didn't, because that's in his DNA. So what I'm simply saying is when I made that statement, philanthropists, million and billionaires were listening. One philanthropist really heard this statement, and his name is Sean Ridley of the Ridley Investment Group. And he gave me a phone call. We had an hour and a half talk. He says, Don, I'd like to support your campaign and be your major support for your campaign, which others will come. But I'd like to donate to you an opportunity and offer you through this $800 million to eradicate homelessness in Washington State, because I believe what you're saying, it is destroying our economy. And after listening to your program, I hate program, listening to what you forced of looking at it, how you want to accomplish this goal, he said, I believe we can create a model and take it to all 49 states and be in all 50 states. And he allowed me to say, to understand that he was the brother of President Joe Biden's former campaign, when he was the godfather of the Senate, and gave me some strong backing of saying, now on top of the 800 million, I have another donation that comes in, and it's 150 mil of one of my sister groups. So that's $950 million that was offered to eradicate homelessness in Washington state. Um, and I put a program together with my team. You may not like the name eradicate. You may want to go eliminate. You may want to go get rid of. So we said we'll do a little contest where you can call a website. Look up the website, vote Donnell Rivers for governor.com, and you can go to the comment section and register yourself, give a donation, $50, $100, $1,500, up to the 2,500, your company and yourself, and you can get involved in this by saying, here's the name I think it needs to be. Because people would like to have involvement because it's one of our major issues. So from the involvement of it, we will select the name, and that's what it'll be called if you don't want it to be eradicate homelessness. The situation of homelessness is deboggled. It's inflexed with issues all the way back from slavery. It encompasses over the 40 acres in the mule. It's deeper than that. So there's restoration, and then there's situations of what they call you get what you gave. So when you oppress people, when you cause people to uh, do things that are damnable or that are not their character, and they end up having to live in an economy, in a society that way, we end up ending to homelessness. Now it's turning to where it's affecting the philanthropers and the million and billionaires because they can't make a profit. If you have money, you can't sit on money. You have to allow that money to make money. So there's a whole group of philanthropists and others that are willing to invest to correct this problem. And I was sent to Las Vegas to speak to 150 philanthropists and million and billionaires. And the statement I told them was the same. You don't control this economy. You have a 5% to 15% fluctuation point of stableness that you tell your economy and your consumers that we're okay. You're lying. We're not okay. We're struggling and we're barely making it. And we're about, and see, the upper top 1% is about to lose this country if we don't correct it. I believe personally, becoming governor gives me the opportunity to bring in between 12.5% to 15% more new revenue. Because the only way we get taxes to go down or taxes to stabilize is we get new revenue to come in and create new opportunities. So I've got 1 billion already now. So we only got 14 more to go. And that's before coming governor. Once we get to be governor, I know how to talk to philanthropists. I know what they're looking for. I was brought up in that area. I just decided not to end up in it. So the announcement is the fact that we have received the offer of $950 million to eradicate homelessness in Washington state. And I'm going to wait for you to ask me what we're going to do.
Don, that's like wonderful news, right? I mean, so many questions. First question is like, did Sean, his name is Sean Really, do you have like a pre-existing relationship before? Did he know you before, or just like this just came out of the blue, so to speak?
No, I don't know him, but you know, a lot of times when you do so much in the community, there are a lot of eyes and people watching you, and they believe in the success that you bring forth and look for an opportunity for finding a place that you can knit into the sweater type of saying. Um, it goes all the way back from being the community activist that went in and spoke 4 times to the CHOP situation and stopped them from rioting and helped our young people to understand you are good organizers. Now it's time for you to be young people that understand how to negotiate. You get what you negotiate. And the reason why y'all are stuck out here, you don't have negotiation skills. And I've talked to the leaders of that in Tacoma since now, and they had a Juneteenth in Tacoma. Oh, we had a fabulous time, and they were like, "Don, we're so glad you're back. We want you governor so bad." So we were having a good time right now, putting things together.
So $950 million, that's a lot of money, but then again, it's not a lot of money, right? And not because you're gonna have to like pay people like to build the homes, the labor, the supplies. And it's not. It might be a too deep question. Like, is there a plan in place like make sure that dollars are allocated correctly?
Well, the first part of it is I would say I'm going to add the other 50 million because there will be a philanthropist here that's going to get that other 50 million. But on top of the billion brings about another billion. And I look to get at least 2.5 billion out of this project alone in Washington State, because I believe that when you add construction companies and you add the right people that know how to deal with mental illness, uh, and look at all the avenues of things that have worked with the homeless problem, but has not been monitored or mentored. There's a lot of people I've met in the LGBTQIA plus, from young people that are homeless, uh, in need of facilities that I promised them one also, all the way through to college students that when I was 16 years old, I had my first house, bedroom brick home in Detroit. So I know young people can get to the point we can have them focus on by the time they graduate out of college, which this is another added to the announcement. We're looking to build 2,500 1.5 bedroom starter homes for college students once upon graduation. I don't like young people graduating 24 and 25, 26, and they're in debt. They should have some type of investment and opportunity. They live in dorm. They're giving all this money to the university and it's not helping. Some of that money and their parents should be able to invest that money in them having a home also. So we have a lot of work to do, Sean. I see that's part of that 1 billion becoming 2.5, which means 2.5 billion times 49 states. You do the math. But look at all the philanthropists that get investment opportunities to move forward. One thing people don't understand, there's 58,000 million and billionaires in Washington state alone. Now understand this when I say this. They're a strong part of the 1%, but also a lot of them are untapped because they're doing fluctual type of things and no one's having them to be involved to resolve the problems. We're always looking at union workers and all to see if we can get a larger wage, we can get more medical benefits. But also when you get these things, there has to be a give back to the corporation that in an investment opportunity to help people come through and process and do the same thing you did as you retired. So a lot of this, starting with the homelessness, gradually goes through the whole economical system of Washington state, because I don't believe you can be a governor. Well, let me say it a different way. We have accepted those that have been governors to govern what we already have. Washington state brings in the revenue of what, 125 billion a year. Then, and those numbers are not solid. There may be a little fluctuation there. And then you have a GPA of 400 billion a year. So money is circulating, but it's not circulating to the lower class. It's not circulating to where people can thrive and move forward. I'm wanting to introduce to those philanthropists, you got to, help me put programs together to stimulate our economy. And I think we've got somewhere to start now. We got a good punch to go for that.
So Don, I hope I'm wrong, but I think people are going to hear this and they're going to say, "Man, let me attach come to this gravy train. Let me get my money as I can." Right? How do you make sure you bring people on with your program and to build houses that are going to add value versus just like get a 6-figure salary and be a drain on you?
I've handled big money before. Let's never talk about it. I have an organization that's a little bit dormant, Area Business Center for Development and Economics, under the Obama administration, and Secretary Ernie Duncan for Education. We received $8.7 billion with a program called Race to the Top. So my name is already in DC, knowing how to do programs, but I don't play games with people, and I don't play games like that. So what I do is I look for the people that want to be successful and not just wanting to just have a job. Okay. I believe that people have been vetted the wrong way. Everybody breaks to get a job to take care of a family that 50% really didn't plan for. So I look for people that have the character, the fortitude, and the ability and the talents to do that job because they're better at that job. And that's what I'll be looking for in the administration of the governor, is looking for those people that have a care for society and to really want to make things better. That's how you keep things moving. So for those people that are coming and saying, oh, I get a job, I get this, you probably should have done that with the old guards to pay you and to pay you off for all that money they took from you, because I'm not that person. I'm not looking for that type of a situation. So I'm looking for corporations and individuals that bring something. If you're not on my donor list, why do you want to mess with this? You're not there. Get involved, show a commitment. I mean, coming up out of the church, you hear a good sermon, you ready to go to that offering plate and you say, hey, I thank you for blessing me and helping me. It's the same type of format. We want to help people move forward, and we want people that will stay in the position of moving. There's a lot of young people that are understanding being caregivers, that understanding being servitude is gratitude with an attitude. And those are the people we're looking for. So I look for this to really work positively as we vet different organizations and structures that have not been successful.
So Don, we talked about this in a pre-talk about how you're going to select like where these houses go, right? Because I could be wrong again, but I think you put like in a quote unquote wall-off neighborhood, they'll be like, oh no, don't come here. You could bring property taxes down. If you go like an economic disadvantage area, they'll be like, oh, there's already limited resources. How can we support all these people? Like how do you think you go about doing that? And then like, it'll be Seattle, Spokane, rural area. I mean, that's a hard decision, I would think.
Nah, yeah, it is. But this, I believe, because of those issues, we're working on different issues. One is property taxes too high. School levies makes not a lot of sense. It shows me elected officials that didn't have the understanding of how to create new revenue opportunities. So they just take more from the voters and the taxpayers and whatever. License tabs are too high. We're going down the freeway, but we're not talking about who's paying for it. Okay. So by not exploding anyone or exploiting anyone, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway because I'm tired of this. Um, Tim Eyman was never a friend of mine, but he was a friend of voters because he found license tabs. He found out that they were too high. It is not right for what the attorney general and what others did to him because of what he found. See, this is where I get those Republican votes right now. That was wrong. And it was not right. I bring a fair democratic situation. And we have not been perfect because they haven't even perfectly represented me. I've done work from grassroots, and I'm a Democrat that knows how to get things done. And I have people that back me and mentor me to make that happen. So kudos to all of those. But when you talk about the taxes and how we're going to place things in certain areas, we cannot take a homeless apartment buildings and throw them in a thriving community. That's not going to fix because they're not well enough to fit in. We can't take a homeless community of units and put it in a low income environment. That's not going to fix because now you got them fighting against each other for something that a lot of my people felt the Latino community received, the Ethiopian Somali community received, and no one, and actually the system was just looking for more consumers, and however they could get them. This stuff started with Bill Gates bringing East India in and allowing them to fluctuate because I'm going to tell the truth. There was there's a time when Bill Gates asked for all the school system in Washington State, and he was starting up because they used to call me the Black Microsoft because me and a guy named Reggie McKenzie went after retoner cartridges when he created computers and all that stuff and the printers, and he was told he couldn't get it. He wanted to take every young person and put them in. The best people to learn computers are those that don't know them. He went to East India. And then after that, he went to Washington, D.C., got that green card, came back, cut down a side of a mountain, put homes there. And now when you go to Bellevue, you see a lot of East Indian people because that community was brought in. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because this is the same kind of format that's going to have to be used. That's why I'm looking for other philanthropists to get involved, because this format is saying we can't just put people in problems that we're trying to resolve. What we can do as we stabilize our economy by bringing more revenue in and lowering taxes and lowering food prices and making things viable for people that will have a quality way of life, we're also creating new communities, a new town, a new. Do you remember? Somebody remembers when Bellevue was created. Somebody remembers when Kent was created. So all we do is create a new town and establish that town, and then we allow the influx of all those other communities to add the positive attributes to that community. Now we have another community thriving with a city council, their own law enforcement, their own police, all of this stuff. We can create this. Who said we can't create any more states? Who said we can't create any more cities? No one. Don says we can. So Donnell Rivers is moving that way to do it. This is how you get all areas, the X, the Z's, the Y's, the Zens, the millenniums, the good old boy bottom of the network, all of us involved together, because I believe the area that we deal with, baby boomers, I was left out as a baby boomer because the people in front of me that were baby boomers kept their jobs too long. So a lot of my attributes have to wait until now. But I know how to do the transformation to our young people. One's a judge. Some are a lot of police officers. Some are professional ball players. So we've been able to move through this. Some are bishops in churches, because I've been able to look at our society and see the value in a person, in the character in the person, and give them the right path to go on that. This is what we will do with this community, the homeless community, because you're dealing with more than one issue here. It's not just I'm sick. Do you realize homeless people don't pay taxes?
I did not know that.
Oh, okay. Maybe those that have jobs do, but they're not paying school. They're not paying school levies. They don't have a house.
No property tax.
They don't pay no property tax, right?
Yeah, you're right.
They don't pay. They don't pay.
Never occurred to me.
License tabs. Okay, because that's part of them saying I'm gonna be homeless. I'm sick of this colonial society. I've been there with them. That's how come I understand it. I didn't live there, but I stayed there with them. So I know how to make this happen. And I'll be looking for those individuals that have the mindset and the spirit of our creator to make it work.
So Don, what's going to be the process for someone applying and getting approved for rehousing? Is they have to take a drug test, have a job for 6 months?
That's intense.
Okay.
Because a person that has a job and homeless is different and have different issues than a person that has no job and homeless and has medical issues and all those. All that has to be worked out and laid out before placement. You just can't take someone off the street. Saw a man over there today. The first thing he needs, laying in the sun, is a place cool and rest. And then we start talking about how can we invest in that person. I believe a lot of this is being done with some of these organizations out here, but I think there's a drop off somewhere. We have to find out where it is.
There's definitely a disconnect somewhere.
Right. There's a serious disconnect where it's not being totally successful. And then I learned of a gentleman that's like me. I'll be meeting with him in a week or so. I don't remember his name or so, but he is taking homeless people off the street. He's been very successful from his own money. And he has apartment building, and he's been able to take them all the way through the process, and they're working and it's happening. So I'm serious. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. People say that, but they don't play that. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm doing is recognizing the wheel and changing the spokes that don't support the wheel properly.
So Don, when you put someone in a house, is a plan like maybe like give them a class how to be a first time homeowner? Like you own a home, you got to do everything. One time a year ago, our fence blew down because of high wind, right? Our AC just went out. Is there going to be a plan like maybe outsource or do internally, like teach these people, hey, this is responsibility of the homeowner. Is this like it's going to show up and like someone's going to fix it for you, right?
No, that's what I expect this to um, elevate itself to. Is I was thinking about this young lady who has a organization called Young Black Homeowners or Black Homeowners, and her mother's name is Zelina, friend of mine, and um, I want her involved in other young people that have real estate companies involved because the way that you have to look at this issue and how placement needs to be in people need to be placed and they need to be trained. Not because they're homeless, they may be missing a lot of skills that they need to become homeowners. And so we can't just do this and drop them off. What I mean, America has this drop off attitude. Okay. I'm gonna get you there and then I'll get on TV and say, I'm the politician got you there and such and such, but they should say, I dropped you off there. Because when you drop somebody off, you don't care about whether they're successful or not. This we're looking to do this in the format of a program, but it's larger than a program. We're looking to have people to be sustained in their mind, body, and spirit.
So Don, how long do you think you'll support them? Like 6 months afterwards, a year after? I mean, obviously you can't support them the rest of their lives, but you have any like timeline in mind yet?
You can mentor for the rest of your life, for their life.
Yeah, that's true.
You can put. I mean,
That's a good point.
I have people that are mentoring me now. I have a group of ladies that are well, I'm the Medium newspaper. I can't believe Chris Bennett's sister's name, but a good friend of mine. There are ladies out there that I turn to. Uh, Constance Rice. I can, Christine Gregoire, um, Martha Cho, Patty Murray, Maria Cantwell. They're women that I turn to when I have deep questions that I get answers. Norm Rice, um, Norm Rice, and a friend, Lenny Wilkins. They both came from the same place, and I ended up coaching and keeping all the ball players out of trouble because of Lenny Wilkins. He didn't have to do it. I would have been playing as a guard, but he had more guards than he could use, so I had to take that job and run with it. It was a volunteer piece, and um, so it's people there that I look to that keep me fortified, and that's what we're going to do with these group of people. You don't just put people and place them and drop them off. There are people that are going to come forth. Some will be with salaries. That are going to come forward and do this the right way. We already understand DSHS is a mess. Okay, so I look to point somebody over that's not a mess and can take care of all the rest. I mean, because it's unbelievable how messed up that is. Because Adam Smith made a statement. The money was given, Congressman Adam Smith. He said the money was given. He said on CNN too. Money was given to Washington State, and then now no one has any money. What in the did y'all do with the money? Okay, so he says he made a statement that I made a while ago, and Unseasoned tried to make it too, Unseasoned Bird, but he didn't know how to say it the right way. The statement is there needs to be a forensic audit of different departments, of certain departments, not all departments of Washington State, because they all needed to be forensic audit. We wouldn't be functionable right now. There are areas that we need to have a forensic audit, okay? Or do we have people there in charge that don't have the aptitude to know what to do with the jobs that they have? So in that piece, Adam Smith said, oh, look, they need to be audited. The Seattle Housing Authority, King County Housing Authority, nobody's getting away with this, and DSHS, they need to be audited. What did you do with the money? Where did you go on with it? Because see, politicians, and that's why I'm a public servant, politicians has a way of taking money from one area and using it in another area and not putting money back in the area they took it from. And we end up with our Social Security messed up. We end up with gas prices messed up. We end up with environmental issues that are messed up because we're just money hungry. I cannot stand money. I love what money can do to sustain people. And that's what this is about.
So Don, the Becker's fund really, is he going to give you like all the money at one time, or is he going to give you like maybe 20 million? You have to meet certain metrics that he'll give you more money. How's that going to work?
That's like asking me what's my salary from, and I didn't even put one in it because I wasn't grinning for it. It wasn't something I was thinking about. I'm very good at taking care of other people's money when they have a focus to what they want to do. Uh, Let me help you, Jason, understand something. As a young man, I could have lost my life if I didn't handle the money right in my community, and it wasn't my community's money. I took care of the businesses that were in my community that were not owned by the people in that community. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, I've had opportunities. I had areas where I've moved my head slightly to the right and the bullet ended up in the roof of my car. Okay. So don't think I got here freely. I got here because I'm righteously serious about this. Okay. So when it comes about somebody sitting and offering me $950 million, they offered it for the programs that or the situations that I stand for. They didn't offer it for me to have a salary and put it in my pocket. Now, I'm not saying I won't get paid, but I'm not going to try to get laid while I'm getting paid. I'm not using this the wrong way. It's not about what I'm receiving or what I want to receive, because that's the last piece of all this. I don't want it until I'm successful, until I know that people are successful. Everybody needs to be taken care of. That's what this money is for. I don't even think it would have been offered to me. They know my character and they know I'm thinking about what the money can do. And if it takes the money, I get this, because I'm going to say it. If it takes the money that I'm offered or the board that I put together feel that I should be paid and I have to put it into the program, guess what I'm going to do? Put it in the program. Jason, I'm $800,000 in the hole right now. All the running I've done for office, I've used $800,000 of my retirement to be where I'm at today. And I had one man that was a real good friend of mine. His name was Chris. His name is Chris Bennett. He said, "Don't be too into this the way you end up with no money and lose everything." Well, Chris, I want to thank you because I'm not in it. I ain't broke. And I took your advice. I did it from my heart. And now the money's coming back my way to do what I know needs to be done for Washington State. And guess what? If Washington State doesn't want to do this, there are 49 other states that my investor is taking it to. So if you want to lose Donovan, that's your problem. If you, Donnell Rivers, all these 50 years pretty soon, if you want to lose Don Rivers for what his heart deserves to do and help you, you know how many elected officials have retired off of the back of Donnell Rivers, helping, being an advisor and solving problems through their administration? No, they're friends. Friends stick closer than brothers. I'm very biblically based, and I know they're friends. I know from my heart they're friends, and I appreciate it.
Don, in your mind, do you have like a goal, like when you want the first house to being built, like August, September, October? In your mind, like when we're gonna like put shovel to dirt, so to speak.
Having said that, that's going to be from a meeting between me and Mr. Sean Ridley and Mr. Lewayne Frost. Used to be a Seahawk player.
Yeah, I know Lewayne.
Yeah, good guy. Yeah. That's going to be something that we decide when we do the final pieces. I've only signed one contract. I haven't signed the final contract. So we'll be doing the other pieces, the paperwork to make that happen. This money is not going into, I told him I did not want this money going into my campaign for governor. The people own this campaign for governor. And the people want to be involved in successfulness of Washington State being successful. They're going to have to support the campaign of Donnell Rivers. and they can go there and give them donations. They can sign their companies up, their corporations up, and they will be treated fairly, right. Be involved. Be about something going right in this. It's gonna be a clean sweep in Washington State. I'm doing a clean sweep. So why not be involved in it? Why not make it happen? And I'm not just talking about the University of Washington. I'm talking about graduates from all universities and colleges, 2-year colleges that have been successful and those that haven't. Come on, all are included, no one's excluded. So let's make this work and let's fix Washington State to where our forefathers wanted it to be.
Exactly. This is probably too early for this question, but what's the process of all like picking the construction companies to build the houses?
Well, I'm gonna use that answer that question along with the one that you asked me of my date and time. I didn't forget about it. It's just so much to say. We'll be meeting once we put this team together, and I'm starting to get people now that are calling in and wanting the doctors of degrees of this, that, and the other. But I'll take people that don't have a degree if you have the right and the fortitude to make this happen. What's the starting date? I can't relate to. Once I know where the funds are and what banks I want to hold those funds, because if I choose these 2 to 3 banks to hold these funds, they better be giving sponsorship and getting involved also. So the bank corporations, they need to be doing to my website and donating and getting their investor part of their bank all involved, because $1 billion brings another $1 billion. So all the banking institutions and credit unions are open. They come, we will consider them being involved. So the date and time, I'll probably come back to your show and announce all of that, and we'll do a little toast. And if you want to do that, because what you've done for me, Jason, I'd love for you to be out throughout my administration, being able to interview me along with the company I have called Chosen Media. So I have people that work that, and I look for y'all to do that. I have a minority media group that's not known out here in Washington State, but we eventually would like to have our own channel and do news just like King 5 and others do. Okay. And I know the crookedness that's been involved with news. Okay. And I'm not going to say nothing about it now because a lot of it's not been fair to me, but I give everybody a chance to correct the things that they messed up the wrong way. And there's a lot of planning that goes along in what happens. Just because someone's not talking about you now doesn't mean they won't be talking about you later, positive. So I give every one of these channels and organizations a chance to say, all this money that I put into running for governor and running for elected official positions, 2,000 something every year or every time I run, and I get nothing out of it, I'm coming to get everything.
Yes. So Don, back to the college students, right? That's the first I ever heard anyone like want to do homie for college graduates, right? Where did the idea come from?
It came from me at wow. I'm gonna try to keep myself together with this. 14 turning 15, my father kicked me out of the house. I was a rough dude. They called me Crazy D. Uh, I I had the slate of following the rest of my family, the males. But my mother said, no, it's the spirit over this young man. When he was born, it's just a certain thing. At 14, my father kicked me out because I had 3 jobs. I made more money than him. He was a concrete man, and in the wintertime, he couldn't lay concrete. So he lost, sometimes he couldn't handle the household, and I could. And his manlyhood coming from Mississippi was challenged. So he threw me out. At that time, I just thought he thought I was a bad guy, but he knew I had no criminal record. A neighbor across the street let me rent a room from her. And in them days, but before he kicked me out, I was paying him $150 rent for my room. That's a lot of money back in the 60s and stuff. And she said, I'll take that money. So she gave me a room, and from that part, um, I got an opportunity to put some money together with all the positions I had, jobs I had, and I saw a Polish person. It was a Polish community. See, a lot of people think it's always black and white problems, and that Polish community opened up to me because I had a paper job, and I'd be a paper boy and give them paper. And one man had a house. He was an elderly guy, about 70, 80. And I said, I want to buy your home. He said, I tell you what you do. You give me, you can get 2,500 together, and you give me another 2,500 together. And a year or two later, this home will be yours. And I did it. And so at the same day I was moving in, the next my father's house was burning down with my little brother. And I get a knock at the door, and it's my dad saying, "Move, boy, I'm coming in and move with you." so, so he ended up living with me. So my experience and loss and being thrust into manhood so early in Detroit, after being told you got to watch for your family and you better make sure your girls and your sisters and your little brother are home, and you can't come home until then. After seeing all that being treated that way, and I'm saying this because of young people and what they go through today, I realized within me, with the help of the Creator, there was an opportunity to me to be my own. I remember standing in the street one night, and I didn't have a curfew that night, and all my friends were having a good time. And then they said, "Okay, Don, we'll see you. We're going home." And I'm standing there by myself, looking at the stripes, and I'm going like, "Uh-oh, where do I go?" Eventually, I had a home of my own to go to at 16. And in high school, my last 2 years, I went to high school with 3 cars, wore a suit every day, had 3 jobs. I was a McDonald's shift manager. I still got the blazer, the golden arch blazer, McDonald's shift manager. I did construction in the morning before school with my uncle. And then I did running a gas station at night for people that I handled their money. And I do deposits before I go back to school. And I owned that house, and that was my first house at 16. By the time I was 18, I came this way, played for George Raveling, didn't do it, didn't happen. Ended up with what is it? The coach of the Huskies, Don James, and didn't want to do that. So I ended up being a mentor to people, helping people find their way. Bought my second house, got married at 21, bought my second house, and at 24 had me a house built from the ground up. And I was discriminated against. Wells Fargo Bank took my money that I had in the bank to do it. They froze my money. And because I had 5 different businesses, I was able to use that 150,000 I was making a year annually from my businesses to make sure my house was built. So what I'm saying all this for is you have to do hard work. But if you do hard work, people like Norwood Brooks, a good Republican, they look out for you, and they help you to go forward. And that happened for me. And I found myself having my own home built with a tennis and basketball court. And I put $25,000 in the concrete in the backyard just to have that my own, this, that, and the other. So I understand. I see young people, it's wrong for someone to graduate college at 24 and 26 and they have nothing but bills, student loans and stuff. I told Senator Maria Cantwell I wanted to sponge student loans. I wanted misdemeanor felonies expunged. And she said she would help me do that. And then what I also wanted to do was, this was an entrepreneur and an investor. And so I told him, I want to take part of this and put 2,500 homes, beginner homes, starter homes for college students coming out. And then my team hit me. You opening it up to that one university, or you opening it up to all? You open to all college students, or what? You going to take across the nation to all colleges? I said, to be honest with you, yes, because it's an investment opportunity. We can stimulate the growth of our young people by having them have home ownership. So this is all starting to come in line. How that's going to work all out, it's got a lot. It's just like we just talked about housing. This is a whole new area that has to be worked out.
So Don, are you starting like a new nonprofit for all this? Is it going to be a new something, one of your existing business organizations?
I would get me a consultant because I am a consultant and lay out which ways the better and get a team of people to talk about how to put this together to the areas that are sufficient because the housing piece for college students is different from the housing piece
Yeah.
for the homeless. Okay. But all of this is bringing about new revenue, new places of living, and maybe a new city or new cities. Because, you know, the college home ownership will have a association to it that will be added to that will manage those that have those homes.
So Don, so you know this is going to happen. Someone's going to criticize this, right? How are you going to deal with the quote unquote haters who are going to criticize this, no matter what you do, good or bad? Are you just going to like ignore them, so to speak?
I'm not just going to say I ignore them because I have a program called the 3Ls: listen, learn, and together we lead. So I won't ignore them. I would take their criticism and then see how successful they are for even mentioning something negative. Because if you're not positive with bringing something negative, then you're negative when you're bringing something negative, and now you've already excluded yourself. So we have a format for that. I know it'll happen, but in the midst of them being negative about wanting to say something negative, they may end up being positive when they listen to themselves about how they want to say it. They may start really correcting themselves.
So Don, obviously I have a lot of planning to do, a lot of details, like big dream vision, like thought stuff you have to do, right? The plan is.
Mhm.
What's one thing that you're like, okay, this one thing kind of concerns me, or like this one thing I gotta really pay attention to make sure this is successful.
I'm looking for individuals that I can put different investment programs and opportunities to be over. Uh, my my goal is to be governor, and as governor, you find the right people. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be looking at my mentors to help me find those people, and as I create other programs that will sustain Washington State and make us and put us in the point of being vibrant and import export wise, uh, from small business perspective, from Black community owned businesses, from Black minority business contracting. As I look to do all those things, I have to have the ear to listen to all those individuals. I know there's a give and a take, but I'm more interested in the give, and I want to forgive all those that are about take.
Don, so as Washington State have they already done their Democratic convention,
Mm-hmm.
and were you able to take part of that? Did you
Oh
attend
yeah,
that? Okay,
that was good. I
okay,
I announced this at the convention
okay.
to the Black Caucus, to the Veteran Caucus, Native American Caucus. Um, they they helped. They dealt with a lot of tribalism, and it was exposed this time. Um, the delegates went to a meeting, and they were told, "We have a nomination, and we're not allowing anyone else to be nominated." And from what I'm told, 50 to 75% of them walked out because that's wrong. But that's how tribalism works. But to have tribalism continue, they had to expose themselves this time. And they did. But they didn't know I was going to walk in and expose them. The exposure is tribalism is it had to get to a point where it told them you will not be able to do your job. We already have done it for you. That's tribalism. And when the delegates realized that, those that left came back the last day after hearing my speeches and my and announcement that I just gave to you. And I was told that the nominee stood in the back at the wall when he saw that only 5 people raised their hands supporting him. Uh, Come on, we're not entering into another 12 years, 4 years of what we've been through with what we've had to govern us.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they're trying to do like almost like a pass it on the like one king can rule, now the son can have rules, almost like a
That's tribalism.
passing on, like
That's tribalism. It doesn't work in this society. Why do you think we had CHOP? Why do you think we had riots? These young people are not taking this stuff and they're not going for it this time. What we're having is righteousness. What we're having is freedom of speech, a democracy. We're having the Democratic Party correct itself with affection, correction with affection. We're having the passing of the baton in all the areas of Washington State. So the influx of what it took to us to get here is now imploding on itself. All the wrong that has been done in tribalism. And you know what? Our forefathers maybe had to do that kind of stuff to create the United States. But guess what? Now we have to sustain the United States. We have to sustain Washington State. Tribalism cannot be involved in this. You have a right to have your own party. You have a right to have those parties respected and come to a governor that will hear all parties with the freedom of understanding everybody has those needs. I'm pro-choice, but I have an understanding of the intent of those of pro-life, even though they don't understand that. But I understand where they're coming from. That's from my biblical education and being brought up and understanding all these things. That's why I can make it work, because I understand the failures. The Democratic Party, left splintered from this convention. But at the same time, we left with an opportunity, because our party has a black delegate a black candidate running for governor that's not an unseasoned bird.
You know what? You need to make T-shirts for that and sell them.
Unseasoned bird.
Yeah.
When I
saw, you got to make some T-shirts for that.
Well, when I saw him at this last event at a senior center, I also found out he wasn't a flying bird. Mm-hmm. He was a chicken bird.
Yeah.
Because I'm not just saying. I'm just saying he never said one thing to me until I was leaving, and then he waved. But because he heard the same announcement you heard, and he put his head down. You know what? And like I said to you last time, I will help him be a better person. You don't have to be mischievous. You don't have to be to embezzle. It's 2 times he's done. You don't have to do these kind of things in order to be up front. It's not necessary. There are people here that respect both sides of the aisle. I respect every party of this state, and I bet you they know I respect them, because they have a right to say they have an opinion. But watch me as governor bring all of them together. I'm smiling because it's just in my spirit to do it.
So, Don, do you have any opinions on what's going on with President Biden, like his horrible
Why would you do that to me? No,
and everyone's like, I think last count 11 Democratic congressmen want him out. His biggest donor, George Clooney, said he needs to drop out. He did an interview with George Stephanopoulos, Mr. Democrat. He said he can't serve 4 more years. So what's your take on that?
I'm going to take the long route on this one, because there's a lot into this. I'm a person that believes President Obama would not have been as effective if he didn't have Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the godfather of the Senate. That's not a joke. If you follow the trail, Obama accomplished a lot of things for us. But when he said health care for everybody, all hell broke loose. What came before COVID? Ebola?
Ebola.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obama was on top of Ebola. But as his moving off the scene as a president, here comes COVID. So I'm saying there are philanthropists, corporations, and all those. Our country is not made like other countries. And we're going to have a problem trying to be those other countries, because you can't take and say you want corporations to pay for everything and you're not involved in anything. So it has to be a sharing across the aisle, like we talk Democrat and Republican, with unions, with employees. It just can't be all a take. It has to be a relate, to where we all relate to make our corporations in our state and our country better. When it comes to Joe Biden, he stepped in, and he was more of the godfather and mentor of, from my perspective, President Obama. when President Joe Biden came on the scene, there were some things that President Obama couldn't accomplish, he got accomplished. Okay. That's because of his status quo, the godfather of the Senate. They're willing to do things that they were not willing to allow Obama to have credit for getting done. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is everyone has a grandfather if they're alive. And grandfather is the holy grail of that family. They sweat, brought sore hands, tears, nights of no sleep. And I'm getting into this. And I think Joe Biden needs to be respected for that because all that he can't do and have the cognizance to do, from the thinking aspect to the speaking aspect to even walking up the plane, we should be there to help him. Because right now, it's not many people that are ready to take that spot. I just say it that way. It's not many people ready to take that spot, but I believe in a year or two after he wins, we'll have someone ready and people ready to take that spot. So I love what Patty Murray said. Got to show some proof, but I think Joe can do that. I think President Biden can do that. He just can't do it in front of the camera. That's all it is. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get to you now. You know, it's always when I was coming to say white people can't dance. Okay, when I came up,
or jump,
or jump, yeah,
or have rhythm.
yeah. The white people can't do this. White people can't do that. But boy, after Jim Slady came along and the other, what was it? I don't know the Detroit rapper name, the white guy.
Eminem.
Eminem. Why Eminem came along, it wasn't about playing the Peanuts no more. It was about understanding white people got a little bit in their soul too. So they just may not know how to get it out. But now you see us rhythmically coming together. Okay, white, black, and across perspectives, we're coming together. Joe Biden has a lot to do with that. Obama has a lot to do with that. So what I'm saying is, yes, he has to have a team strong enough to understand his inabilities and give him attributes to cover those inabilities.
So do you think Joe Biden's going to make it as a Democrat nominee out of the Democrat convention?
That I'm not.
Or do you think delegates like change?
I'm saying that our party needs to fortify him because we've been wearing the black and white shoe for so long now. Remember them, what do you call Oxfords?
Yeah.
Okay, we've been the Oxfords for a long time now. So before you jump into them blue suede shoes of Vice President Kamala Harris or whatever kind of shoes you want to call it, give Joe a fighting chance to end properly, which sustains us automatically.
Yeah,
so give him something to. He's got a strong enough team around him to understand his weaknesses and make them his strengths. That's what I'm saying.
If you're his advisor, do you advise him to drop out or keep on going?
You know, I had a job offered to me to be advisor in the White House, and I turned it down. That was a mistake I made for not doing that. But I care so much about Washington State, and I don't think my mentors took bad at me for that. But they offered it to me, and then I shook President Obama's hand the next 2 weeks or so after, and then I realized what I had just done. Oh my God! But we have people there that have to step up. If they can't step up, like some President Biden's family is saying, move them and put some younger people in there with the fortitude, the knowledge, and have just finished college to understand how to do debates and speeches the proper way. Because when you talk about that in education in Washington State, the governor's responsible for education. So my goal is, and I've talked to the superintendent, the current superintendent, and he accepts my program. I want to put the 3L program into the schools, listen, learn, and then lead. And I want to put another program that deals with morals, values, principles, and ethics, which talks about the ability to understand how to debate these issues and understanding those issues. Schools of morals, schools of values, schools of principles, schools of ethics. Give them an assignment so they come out well-rounded Okay. It's wrong for somebody to get a company and never had a speech before. And now they're a millionaire and they can't stand there in the mic and don't know how to speak. So what I want, we did it with preachers. I mean, we give them a trial sermon. Uh, with Joe Biden, I'm 100% for Joe Biden, but I always understand how to take people's weaknesses and make it their strengths. He's done so good for us. Let's hold his arms. Let's be his legs, and let's get a singer to sing what he want to say. I don't, if he can't say it, let a gospel singer sing it or whatever. We can make this work for us.
Yeah, I definitely think sometimes the team fails them. Like some stuff you see on TV, like you wrote the teleprompter, it'll say, he reads something, he'll say, in a quote, don't read this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
like to me, someone's failing him, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm
I
wrong.
know I don't want to go that deep as to say it's someone in the camp that's destroying his success or that's destroying the camp. But I will say they all must be vetted right now because we're at a position where he has to move forward. We can't change him right now. It'll be a wrong mistake to change him, even though they're coming together to change him, but they're doing it out of fear. You don't do anything out of fear. The only thing I fear is God. The only person I fear is God. So if he's on our side when it comes to getting us this far, and President Biden goes and he deals with the Ukraine and Russia, and he deals with um, Hamas in Israel, the Jewish community. Let's understand why he's doing it the certain way he is. Everyone wants to say, "I'm quitting my job, getting off of it because he won't support this and won't support that." It's not just the current, it's the past that's in the present that we don't want to be the future of problems. We didn't always do things the right way. We thought our money could buy everything, and our money can't buy a lot of things now. And we're in a debacle. We're stuck, but we can figure it out.
So now let's suppose that President Joe Biden does decide to step aside. Would you be happy to come on Vice President Kamala Harris, or would you want someone else?
I believe in passing the baton, but I'm also going to say this: if it's Kamala Harris, if it's Vice President Harris, just get everything of what I'm not saying out of what I'm saying. If it's Kamala Harris, let's build her up where she can be the president and represent us. I was a strong supporter of Hillary Clinton. I liked all the good things that she brought. Elizabeth Warren. Let's get those women around her to help her to be the president that we need her to be. The only thing I dislike is it's too much of this hand movement and how she speaks, but that's her character. So we have to run with it. And that's what I want to say is we have to accept what people have, how a person is, and make it work for everyone. I'm strong for that.
So Don, is there like a politician out there who's like young and upcoming, whether Democrat or Republican, that you said, yeah, this person with some agreement could be president or could be governor?
You shoot me at the hip a lot. Of course, I got to put myself in there, but I'm just a beginning retiree. So, uh, but my responsibility in getting the position is to find and be prepared to be a transferring agent to make sure that our state is comfortably led the proper way. So I'll be looking for those individuals. I'm not going to give you a name because there are too many organizations behind people that are making them look like what they think they are and not knowing what they truly are or who they truly are. Because when you're young, you get sustainability off of those things that gave you the opportunity to get to where you are. I don't necessarily stand on that. I stand on who I am because I am that I am. And in the midst of that piece, they don't have the intelligence to see that yet. That's why we can't completely hand things over. We have to mentor them into position and be there along the way until they get to their 50s, where they can free Willie, because Willie ain't free, not in this state.
No, no, it's not. So Don, back to your housing program. For the house, do you have a goal in mind? Like, like, is your goal like decrease homelessness by 25%, increase homeownership by 15%? Do you have like a big term goal you want to
No,
reach?
I know I wasn't given the money to do it percentage wise. I'll be given the money to eradicate it,
Okay.
to get rid of it, clean sweep of it. What that looks like, I don't know. Yes, I do. I don't know. Yes, I do. Because see, there's a double side to everything. And the checks and balances basically are centered. And if you're centered with the checks and balances, then you can make the proper decisions to be successful. And that's what I look for.
So let's someone's out there listen to this and they want to get involved. How do they get involved with this?
Vote DonnellRivers.com. The website, easy. You can just put Donnell Rivers on Google for governor, and it'll lock you into the campaign, because a lot of my staff and my team, we're looking to take more staff and team on, but a lot of my staff and team, they're some blessed young people, because they have an opportunity in front of them and $950 million standing them in the face to be successful. And I am so thankful to the state of Washington. I'm so thankful to my mentors. I'm so thankful to those that have watched me, believe in me. And I'm even thankful for those that don't like me. I'm thankful for them, seriously, because you know what? You push me. I'm thankful for all the times I lost, because I grew. And now I know what to do.
So Don, is there anything else I asked you that I didn't, or anything else you want to talk about?
Um, oh, you covered things very well. I think this is an opportunity in my closing statement to say, if you don't ask another question,
I have one more question for you.
oh, see, I just messed that up. Anyway, my thing that I would say is, I made a TVW state video before, and I said, we're Washingtonians. We know how to take care of business. And I'm going to revert back to that. It's time for the Washingtonian, the Washington, the people of Washington State. It's time for us all to get real, come together, stop this. Our kids are fighting. That's because they don't know anything else to do. It's time for our Joe Bidens, our Elizabeth Warrens, our Patty Murrays, all of our philanthropists, open your pocket. All of our grandmothers and grandfathers, get back involved. Just because you retired, you best be rehired. Hire yourself into an area of things that you like to do. Do it. Go back to the schools. Go do something to help our upcoming youth not make the mistakes. That's where I think we're ready to be at. And I just want to say, come help me, help everybody. Vote for me to help get this done. It's time, you guys, that I'm so, I don't even like the word passionate. I'm so serious, beyond passion, for Washington State.
So Don, final question. If you were asked to assist the vice president in Washington, D.C., would you take the job?
That's how.
That's up to you, up for you to define.
Where'd you get that from? My, oh, Jesus. Yes, I would, but not until after I've done what I need to do in Washington State. Uh, I have to be connected to be effective. Shouldn't have asked me that. Mm.
So Don, can you give us any last minute advice or wisdom or anything else you want to talk about?
I care. I love. I create. I will debate, but I will win in all areas of life. I presented myself to become a loser, but I end as a winner in all things. I acknowledge him because he has directed my path. I thank
Thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it.
you. You're welcome.
And to our listeners, thank you for your time as well. Remember to be great every day.